Yo, what's good? It's been about 3 months since I made a video called Why is Anime Defender So Boring? And I made that video around the beginning of the downfall of anime defenders, and it's really funny to look at it in retrospect because holy crap, I knew that game was like doing bad, but I actually never would have expected how poorly it ended up doing. Anime defenders is currently sitting at 10,000 players, which maybe 4 of them are actual real humans. The rest are quite literally just robots. That game, I mean, we've all known the game is botted for a very long time, but holy crap, the fact that even with that insane bot inflation it's at 10,000 really shows how horrible that game is doing. Anyways, just want to quickly look at it in retrospect and say it's kind of insane the amount of hype anime defenders kind of had going for it at launch and just how horrible it did. It's kind of insane to think about now, but if you remember back when anime defenders launched, it was actually looking really good. I remember I did a live stream about the game on release, and a bunch of people in chat were asking me, do I think this is better than AA? How do I feel about this game? Which game would I rather play, this or AA? And I remember at the time I even said I think this has the potential to rival AA. I can easily see this game becoming just as good. I think this game can have a permanent place in this market. Like, I was actually really glazing up anime defenders. I think a lot of people were, because when the game released, it was honestly still very good. And it's kind of crazy to think about that. I still think anime defenders is probably the second best game in terms of quality that we've had next to anime vanguards, because in terms of the actual graphics, UI, everything, I was a really big fan of anime defenders aesthetic. I actually really liked how the game was going. The only thing it had going against it were the models, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a very big thing. On the game's release, it wasn't that bad. Like, you could still identify which character was supposed to be which, but by the time the game was a couple updates deep, it was just horrible. Akari became a homeless man off the street. Freaking Ichigo was just some dude with a skull head. Like, it was actually impossible to recognize who was supposed to be who. It was really, really bad. But yeah, besides that, the actual animation, the graphics, and the UI, I thought the game did it really good. Like, even though the Guts character was not Guts whatsoever, it's just some paladin dude, I thought the character looked really cool. But speaking of Guts, ties into, I want to talk about what really started the downfall of the game, because obviously the skins were a big part. Like, the models, I mean, that the models look nothing like the real life counterparts. Guts is some guy in a freaking paladin costume. Ichigo was some dude with the skull head. That was obviously a huge factor. But I think the other factor was honestly just the portals. Man, the portals were so bad, and they were way too grindy. And I think they kind of showed a very good example of a good grinding game versus a bad grinding game. That if you recall, the portals and enemy defenders were like a 1.5% chance to even get the mythic, and they didn't even replenish upon usage, which means that every single time you'd have to go all the way back to the beginning to grind up the portal again. It was such a monotonous process, and obviously that's the whole point. Like, grinding is always going to be repetitive and monotonous, but that was just to a whole other level, bro. Like, it was actually ridiculous. So I think the portals definitely played a big part, and then also like the updates themselves, just they weren't, I don't know how to explain it, but they weren't innovative enough. Even though their biggest update, the one with the world 2 and everything, even though it was like a lot of content in a sense, because you know there's a lot of new maps, a lot of new units, there just wasn't anything to spice it up, and the gameplay was just so repetitive. And once again, repetitiveness is a critique of all tower defense games. It's the same thing over and over again, but holy crap, that game in specific, I swear to god, they changed nothing up with that update. Like, it was just more of the same. So the game obviously got really bad, but it's just really interesting to look at it in retrospect, because damn, I actually used to look at that game so fondly and I had so much potential for it, and now it just serves to, well, it serves as basically a laughing stock. Like, holy crap, remember anime defenders? How the hell was that game ever good? But it also just kind of serves as a reminder of like anything can go bad. I remember when anime vanguards launched, people kept asking me like, do you think vanguards will flop? Do you think vanguards will flop? And I said it'd be nearly impossible for anime vanguards to fumble, and I don't think anime vanguards has fumbled, but I'm not gonna lie, they have not done as good as I thought they would. I thought they were going to do a lot better, and I don't want to critique the game that much. I don't want to poop on it that much, because I do think the game's doing okay. It's doing pretty good, but they didn't fumble nearly as bad as anime defenders. Nothing could have fumbled nearly as bad as anime defenders. And I wasn't playing the game anymore, but I heard that they dropped an update that was like some ad, like literally a paid advertisement. I forgot what it was. It was like a movie with The Rock in it. Isn't that insane that they became such freaking sellouts that they just did a whole advertisement for the game? That's insane. Oh wait, how did I not even mention this, bro? The market, that's another big contributor. The market, that game was such a perfect example of how not to have an economy. Now, I've never really been a big fan of trading in games in general. Even in anime adventures, I never traded once. I just don't really like trading. The only time I support trading is if it's purely cosmetic items, because then there's no actual in-game advantage. But I always hated the concept of like, you can have a super good unit. Like, let's use Deal Over Heaven from Anime Adventures. You can have Deal Over Heaven, a super good unit, it and just get it with freaking either real life money or some crappy in-game currency. I always hated the idea of being able to get so ahead in a game through trading and using a currency rather than actually playing the game. That's just my take. I know a lot of people like trading, it's fun for them, and no hate to them obviously, but I think Anime Defenders showed the perfect way to not balance it whatsoever. At least Anime Adventures had somewhat of a balance where most of the things getting traded were skins, even though they did have the over heaven and stuff like Roger, which were for sure really bad. But at least most of the things being traded in Anime Adventures were like shinies and rerolls, because like obviously rerolls is pay to win, but I think the fact that you were trading cosmetic things instead of like more tangible in-game, like more tangible OP stuff, if that makes sense, like to me it made a little more sense, because trading you could also just trade as a collector, you know, like maybe you just really like a shiny and you want to go for it. I kind of support that, you know. I just don't like the idea of getting super ahead in a video game over trading. That's just my take. Obviously I know a lot of people may disagree and that's the fun for them, but oh well. But Anime Defenders just showed the problem when you allow that to its full extent. That game's market was so inflated because of the alt accounts, and literally nothing had value. It was actually so crazy. I think the rarest unit in the game with the best trait in the game, which at the time was like some skull guy with Almighty, was worth like 20 bucks. And look, once again, I hate Deal Over Heaven. I never want to see another thing like Deal Over Heaven again. But the best unit in the game being worth 20 bucks is absurd. It doesn't have to be worth $1,000 like a Deal Over Heaven was, but 20 bucks is just absolutely ridiculous. That game's economy was so cooked, it was actually sad. So yeah. And then on the same note, not to mention that if you wanted to keep up with that economy, or if you just want to keep up with the game as a free-to-play person, you're basically forced to alt account, bro. Even as a somewhat casual player, I had 4 alt accounts running at all times. And bro, that was just so annoying to get freaking used to. I remember Jonas told me that at one point he had 16 accounts running. Isn't that ridiculous, bro? 16 accounts. Like, a game should never ever promote that. That's just ridiculous. But yeah, just want to make a quick video talking about, isn't it crazy how much of a flop that game was? Just look at it in retrospect. It's crazy it's been 3 months already. It feels a lot more recent. But oh well. By the way, I completely suck at surfing. I've been surfing right now as I talk, and I never realized how bad I was. I've done this map. I'll probably have to use different freaking footage, because holy crap, it's probably just gonna be frustrating to watch this. But okay, how am I supposed to get through that window though? I don't get it. Dude, I never actually surfed when CSGO was around. I wasn't much of a CSGO surfer, so I've learned how to surf like very recently through the Roblox surfing. What? Bro, how do I kill the momentum enough to get into that hole? Literally how? Here, right? Boom, boom, boom. Oh my gosh. Okay, whatever. Come on. Bro, okay, whatever. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, make sure to subscribe, whatever. All that nonsense. Hope you guys have a good day.